Welcome PUBG Esports fans to the PGS preview. We are here to get you ready for PGS 9, kicking off in Malaysia from October 13 to 19, followed by PGS 10 from October 27 to November the 2nd. These are the final two PGS events of the year, where we will crown two more champions and find out who will claim the remaining PGC points and round out our lineup for the PUBG Global Championship 2025. We've invited some of the best commentators and analysts from around the world to break it all down. So let's get started with the Korean region and the PWS finals, where everything came down to the wire. Alright, let's welcome our first guest, the commentator everyone knows very well and a resident Korean region specialist, Paper Thin. Welcome, and it's all your time, Paper.
All right, I'll take it away. I think the expectations are high for Korea right now. Got to look at the BN Freaks first. They're destroying in the PWS in Korea. They're blowing everyone else out of the water. Everybody in a 12-game finals had 20-plus kills on the team. They absolutely clobbered the rest of the PWS. So, of course, this should be the time for the DN Freaks. You would hope that they could start breaking through and getting those big wins internationally. And then you got some of the other cool teams coming through. You got Bagel Pa making it through again. The PO-led team, Khan in particular, has been playing really, really well. And then you look at FN Polchon, a team that is full of some veterans, some new players, and all their players couldn't necessarily play on the days they needed to due to illness and things like that. They're looking to bounce back with a Rex-led team. Rex, that longtime veteran of the PWS. Another team we should, of course, look at, one of the global partner teams in the PWS in Korea, is Gen G. They got second in EWC. Expectations went through the roof for them again. Maybe this is the resurgence of the Gen G we used to see back in 2019, 2020, but they struggled in the PWS this time. So they're really going to have to bounce back because they're one of those teams that is looking to get into PGC. They aren't fully qualified yet, so we're going to need to see a big step up. Last but not least, the Young Gun team, the team that we are really keen about right now, is SGA. This is a team full of young guys. Hane in particular has been going crazy. He's one of the other 20-plus kill players in the grand finals for them to get them here. So really excited to see what they can do. So this is also very important for the PWS in terms of how they can qualify for PGC. So two teams in particular, SGA and Gen G, they are still in a precarious position. They are still in a spot where they might not qualify for PGC, so they have to play extremely well at PGS. So, Lisa, I'll send it back to you.
All right, thank you so much, Paper Thin. I totally agree. Overall, the Korean region has shown a very solid playstyle. I'm really looking forward to how the Korean team will perform. Now it's time to introduce a new face to PGS, joining us from the APAC region, Contra!
Hello, Lisa. I'm glad to be on board. Well, my name's Contra, and I've been casting the APAC region for a couple of years now. Starting things off, the Expendables, as part of our partner teams, have shown that they've been able to grow stride by stride as they've been able to mature with their steady pacing. And then, of course, if you're looking at the top gunner in the entire APAC circuit, look no further than Tanvu has been the one dishing the most amount of damage so far in the circuit. Of course, he's been paired very well with Cloris as well as Delwyn to also be up to steady pace. So the Expendables, they're going to once again look to take that trophy home by the end of the year. And not only that, if we take a look at the rest of Force Natural Gaming, despite that level of inconsistency that they've been showing, they've been able to really grow steadily throughout the entirety of the APAC finals. And of course, in the cut for the PGC qualifications, we've got Full Sense as well as Bram United. Full Sense, they've absolutely dominated. They scored the second seed throughout the play-ins to qualify to the grand finals of the PAQ. And once they made it into the PAQ, they've shined bright, scoring multiple chicken dinners in a day. And they've been able to top their entirety of the grand finals at #1 spot with plenty of points to really separate the rest of the competition apart. And of course, APAC has been the cradle of dark horses with plenty of new players emerging every other season. This time, I think we're going to be seeing some massive surprises, Lisa.
Yes, I totally agree, Contra. Thank you so much. And And our next guest has actually double duty today, and he will break down both the China and the EMEA region. So please welcome the always insightful Clarice. Hi, Clarice.
Hi, Lisa. Thank you very much for having me. Yes, I'm Clarice, basically the host of internationals as well as commentator for EMEA, and I'm excited to break down what's going on. So first and foremost, let's start off with China and everything that's been going on there, right? You've got your China GPT teams and how they've been able to perform. Petrichor Road, second place, really keeping up with JDG for, I would say, the entirety of the tournament until the very last day. We can break that down in just a moment. 17 Gaming in third place. I don't really have too many concerns about how they're going to perform internationally, despite not being able to attain the PCL championship. 151 points for them. I expect big things from them on the international stage, as always. And 4AM in seventh place with 112. I think for a lot of people, there's always been question marks about how 4AM can perform. And again, those will proliferate here throughout our next PGSs. But JDG, first place here with an amazing performance, I have to say. Them and Petrichor Road really neck and neck up until that last day. However, I would argue JDG had the best day of their gaming lives on that last day of PCL, with back-to-back wins on Rondo and Tego, and every single game that day basically being double digits or close to in terms of the kills. So very excited to see how JDG is going to perform after constant improvements and movement in the previous PGSs under the banner of Too Cool. So I want to see them do well when it comes to PGS and maybe even take another title for China after 17 Gaming set the pace in the previous PGSs, Lisa.
Let's turn to the EMEA region and also back to you, Clarice.
Thank you. Yes, absolutely. The EMEA, obviously, we have, I would always argue, one of the most deep regions in the world. And that is kind of exemplified by even some newcomers being able to qualify to PGS, which we'll get on into in just a moment here. But we'll start things off with Twisted Minds, the greatest of all time in my mind, being able to take number one again with 191 points at the top. Nobody was really able to challenge their dominance. They've won EWC. We were scared for them a little bit at the beginning of the year because they weren't able to do as much as you would expect at those PGSs, but it's Twisted Minds. They're coming for more PGS wins. Let's be real, they're coming for PGC as well at the end of the year. No doubt, no doubt. And then on the other side of GPT, Na'Vi, 5th place. Not exactly their best showing. However, I do think some of their individual components, like SoSaid, for example, have been able to step up their fragging game alongside the likes of the always consistent Hakatori. So for them, this PGS, these next two PGSs coming up, is going to have to be a bit more of a proving ground on the international stage to know that they can potentially challenge for PGC down the line as well. Moving further from our GPT teams, when we look at the qualified teams that have been able to move forwards, we have SlamG, we have FaZe, and we have Virtus Pro. The big surprise, I think, for a lot of people is that SlamG was able to take second place. And this is a team of upstarts from kind of middling teams, as well as some prodigies coming through in the scene. Boostic, everybody's talking about this kid. Boostic. I see the North American pros. I see the EMEA pros all talking about this kid and how much he could potentially upstart everything that's going on. So him on internationals for the very first time could be a big deal if they're able to knock it out of the park the way that they did in EMEA in a very deep field. FaZe is back. Obviously, they had a bad start to 2025. They did not qualify for LANs. I think once they were the previously GPT, I think they got a little bit complacent about qualifying to LANs. However, at the beginning of the year, obviously losing GPT was a big blow for them, and I think that complacency got the better of them at the beginning. Now, though, they've gone back to the grind. They clearly were working on a lot between LANs, knowing that they hadn't qualified prior, and they have come back with a vengeance. They look like a completely different team to the beginning of 2025. And finally, you've got Virtus Pro, who, of course, we've seen almost win out PGSs, almost win out EWCs, and now they're back to get themselves another spot at LANs. They've had a little bit of a change up, of course, with the fact that Skoom is no longer the coach and Ibiza has stepped into that role, but I think that won't change too much for them on the international stage. From there, I think maybe we could see even more EMEA teams get themselves PGS pots to be able to push themselves forwards.
All right, thank you so much, Clarice. I totally agree. For the EMEA region, the strength is undeniable. Thank you so much, Clarice. Thank you for your time. Finally, let's welcome our good friend and also old friend Tofi for him to give us more info on the American regions.
Thank you very much, Lisa. As she said, my name's Toffees. I love the Americas. I spent the whole year watching the action. I'm going to prepare you for what to expect. First, the GPT update. We have the Falcons. It's one of those regions where there's not a lot of GPTs, so the update's pretty fast. Falcons, still on the grind, still looking good. They dropped the ball at PAS. They did not qualify to PG3 through that PGC point system. So that means if they want to go to PGC, they need to perform at this PGS series. Now, the good news for them is the fact that they are essentially tied for first right now with the Freaks at 480 points. So they should go. The problem is winning this PGS gets you 480 points. So you have to really be on your game right now. They have to have, I would say, a middling event, and they are set for PGC. So if you're a Falcons fan, don't stress. There's a chance you miss, but it is very, very, very low. Couple other teams to keep an eye on, though, that could cause problems for them. Number one, Lisa, Team Liquid. They are, I think, a little bit bummed, and as am I, that they didn't get a GPT last year after how well they did at PGC. They dropped the ball at PGS on our first half of the year when they got shot in the back by DraftKings during qualifications and missed a whole lot of practice time. That hurt them at EWC, but I feel like they're back on their game. They look good at PAS. This could very much be their event. The two other teams we sent, Al Qudsiya and Mission Ready International Alliance, are a little more wild cards in my opinion. Both made up of members of the same team once upon a time. If you remember the old Falcons, we got Rello, we got Roth. Snakers helped Mission Ready get here. These guys know what they're doing. The bad news for Mission Ready, Snakers will not be at PGS. He has to work. Good news for Mission Ready, they qualified for PGC already, and Snakers will be there. Should be an exciting event no matter how you slice it. My money's on Falcons and Team Liquid to really stand up and shout for the Americas, but this is my biggest takeaway, Lisa.
Yes, thank you so much, Tofi. Thank you for your info. Thank you so much. All right, so we've now heard about every region, and it's time for the big question. Who's going to win the PGS 9 and PGS 10? So actually, I want each of you to give me your champion predictions. And remember, we've got a friendly bet on the line. Is it cool with everyone?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, let's go. So maybe we can start from paper then. What is your prediction?
Oh, this is easy. This is a no doubter for me. Okay, second place at both the first PGSs. It's time. It's the DN Freaks. They are gonna win this, no doubt about it. They are ready to roll.
Okay, that is a nice pick. And what about you, Contra?
Well, I think like a lot of people will think that, this team that I have in my hand will take it all, but no, I still think that APAC will be able to secure it. I mean, you take a look at Expendables' run last year, you may say, oh, it's a miracle run. There might be a fluke, but man, they've shown that they're not a fluke because throughout the entire year, including the EWC, they finished 4th, and recently they have been able to really regain some tempo, finishing 2nd in the APAC qualifier. So they really want to solidify it and make a back-to-back run to defend their title.
All right, still stands for APAC, and that is a good trick. All right, so what about you, Claris?
Well, it's nice that everybody's predicted DN Freaks, the Expendables, etc. However, the Kings, the greatest of all times, Twisted Minds, are on the way to take even more PGSs. They're not sharing. They've already got 3 under their belt. The 3-time PGS champions, the EWC champions, the EMEA champions, the greatest of all time, Twisted Minds.
Okay, back to back champions, Twisted Minds, good pick. And what about you, Tofi? Share the same opinion with Claris, or you have another option?
Well, it is noble of Claris to take the hard bet of Twisted Mind to win this thing. Or of Quantra to say, take the hard bet of the Expendables PGC defending champions. Or to take the Freaks, who are the top of the PGC boards right now. I'm going to do something different. I'm representing the Americas. And I'm going to tell you, 2nd place PGC last year. I don't need a winner. I need a runner-up because it's time to win now. Team Liquid looked terrible at the start of the year, but it was little issues all along. Right now, PAS, they were on fire and they have been training hard. Alo has been in the gym. And when I say in the gym, I mean on the keys, putting in tons and tons of work, getting stronger. I think they look good. They're my pick to take at least one of our PGSs.
Thank you so much, and a huge thanks to our guests for your great insight, and thank you all for watching. And now I think it's time to say goodbye together. Bye.
Bye.
See ya.